Brett said, thank you guys all for coming out. We know that it's Super Bowl Sunday, but it's a very important thing that we talk about these ages and stages while we're going into planning our camps and specific workshops and things like that. So what we're going to do to start off is I'm going to share my screen and we're going to play some pre-knowledge developmental Jeopardy. So thank you to Prairie County also for lending me this because it's really awesome. And I totally nerd out about it all the time. So thank you to you guys. If you want, please just put your answers in the chat. And we're not going to keep track of points or anything, but these are some nice pre-knowledge things to know before we really get into the thick of it. So I'm just going to go with physical for 400 to start. So, oh, shoot. My bad, guys. So this group exhibits a wide range of sexual maturity. So I'll give you guys about 5 seconds to put those answers in the chat and discuss them. And the answer is 13 to 15-year-olds. So we'll go back to social for 800. So this group enjoys joining clubs or certain groups. This can be answered with 5 to 8-year-olds, 9 to 12-year-olds, 13, 15-year-olds, or 16 to 18-year-olds. Like I said, I'll give you about another 5 seconds on that. The answer is 9 to 12-year-olds, which makes quite a bit of sense. I think that we'll go up to emotional for 200. This age group sees fairness as the golden rule.
Who remembers being 5 years old?
This is 5 to 8-year-olds is the group that sees fairness as a golden rule, or another good one for that age group is seeing sharing is caring as a golden rule. If you have younger siblings, I'm sure that you can relate to that. All right. Enjoy demonstrating acquired knowledge. 5 to 8-year-olds, 9 to 12-year-olds, 13 to 15-year-olds, or 16 to 18-year-olds. The answer is 16 to 18-year-olds. That's a lot of us out in the chat in our group today. All right, we'll go physical for 800. This is a time of great developmental variety. Put those answers in the chat, and I'll let you guys know here in about 4 more seconds. The answer is 13 to 15-year-olds. So hopefully a lot of you guys got that one right. All right, we'll jump over here to emotional for 800. This group sees emotions on a roller coaster ride. So we have a lot of different Jurassic mood changes at this age and things like that. So like I said, keep putting those answers in the chat, discuss them with your group. Give you guys about 3 more seconds. All right, the answer is 13 to 15-year-olds. And I think that we'll just do 2 more. So we'll go intellectual for 1,000. Move from concrete to abstract thinking. This is an age group that we see a lot in our campers at 4-H camp. So think on that while you're answering this. Give you guys about 2 more seconds. The answer is 13 to 15-year-olds. All right, we'll go over to social for 1,000. All right, we begin to question authority and adult values at this age. Seeing a lot of 13 to 15 and 16 to 18 on this one. All right, it's 13 to 15-year-olds. So a lot of you guys got that one right. All right, I lied. We're gonna do one more. We'll do emotional for 800. We already did that one. I guess we'll do social for 600. Desire, respect. Put those answers down in the chat. Give you guys about 7 to 8 seconds to do so. There's a lot of different variation in your guys' answers on this one. All right, the answer is 16 to 18-year-olds. A lot of you guys got that one correct. All right, so.
I know Carter demands respect.
Yeah, Carter does. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and then we're gonna go into, if I can get there, I'm going to go into the more of the informational portion of our time together today. So like you guys saw in our developmental Jeopardy, there's a lot of different age groups that desire and feel a lot of different things. So just a quick breakdown. For the 8 to 9-year-olds, we're going to be focusing on 8 to 9-year-olds, 10 to 11-year-olds, and 14 or 12 to 14-year-olds, just because that's a lot of the age groups that you guys are going to see going into planning camps and having to work with kids at that age. So those are the ones that we're going to focus on. Our 8 to 12-year-olds. These guys are going to be the kids who are just now getting started in 4-H and need a lot of guidance. They're probably going to be more interested in the process of doing things rather than a finished product, and their interest changes very rapidly. So when you guys are planning workshops or camp activities, keep that in mind, that you're not going to be able to sit down and do a 3-hour creativity workshop or crafts workshop or anything like that, just because you guys are going to lose focus really fast with that age group. Their thinking becomes concrete. So if they can see, feel, touch, or taste it, then if they can't, it's going to be pretty impossible for them to understand. But if they can, they're going to be able to understand that concept really nicely. Joking and sarcasm isn't a big thing that you're going to want to do with this age group. They learn by doing hands-on activities. So think about that when you guys are planning workshops and events. Their peer relationships are extremely important. They have a fragile self-concept and they cannot accept failure. So competitions and things like that probably aren't the best idea for this age group, just because if they fail, they're going to feel like, they can never do anything right. Their successes should most likely be emphasized more than their failures, and making their failures more minimal. Like, hey, yeah, you didn't do a good job, or excuse me, you didn't win, but you did an awesome job. Some very specific traits to this age group is that they're going to want to be helpful and do a quote unquote real job. They're going to begin to enjoy activities that they can do alone, things like reading and writing and drawing. They worry about being liked, and those peer relationships are really important to them. They're critical of themselves. They like group activities, and there's a pretty clear separation between boys and girls. They tend to be pretty self-motivated, and they admire and imitate older kids. So that's why it's so important for us as those older kids to be good role models and make sure that we're setting good examples. Moving on to our 10 to 11-year-olds, the children become anxious to grow up, and they still want to enjoy the privileges of childhood, which is something that we're not really going to see in our 8 to 9-year-olds, but we're going to see a lot in the 10 to 11-year-olds, just because they're starting to feel like they're grown up and they should be able to do all this stuff. Things that we should really focus on when we're praising them is their gaining of acceptance, they're experiencing achievements, and developing a sense of self. So those are pretty big accomplishments within that age group. Those physical changes start to occur, which can be pretty problematic for children just trying to be quote unquote normal and develop that sense of self, which is really important that we really reinforce that sense of self when we're talking to them using our words and thoughts. Their self-concept is pretty fragile and dependent on recognition from peers. So again, those peer relationships are really important in these age groups that we're talking about today. They're moving more towards abstract thinking, what and why things happen rather than this is the way that they are. The 10-year-old specific traits, because this is a big, the 10 to 11-year-olds are a pretty big change group, I guess is how you could put it. You see a lot of changes in their personalities and things like that throughout these 2 years. So for our 10-year-old specific traits, they have a way longer attention span than the 8 to 9-year-olds, and you can kind of see that, but they'll still need quite a few breaks. They'll accept self and are able to make mistakes. They like outings and trips, like going to the grocery store. They're beginning to think logically and symbolically, which is pretty great. They're also great joiners and are willing to join almost any game or activity. So that's pretty important when we're planning those camp activities around these ages and stages that we're talking about today. For the 11-year-olds, they have way stronger opinions. They have pretty hard difficulty controlling feelings. You're going to see a lot of outbursts with them. They value friendships pretty highly, and they often fight with their parents. So keep that in mind when you're trying to make groups or things like that. It's important to kind of stick them with some of their friends, but not completely. They're most likely going to be more polite to us and to strangers than they will to their parents. But some good things about this age group is that they finally start to take responsibility for their actions. So if they spill a glass of water in the kitchen, they're more likely to clean it up rather than, say, blaming it on the dog. They also start to become interested in the opposite sex, which is pretty good to think about when we are at those overnight camps or in activities. Just making sure that there's a clear boundary between those. All right, moving on to our last age group is the 12 to 14-year-olds. This is another big change group, I guess you could say, because they experience a lot of change physically, emotionally, and socially. They're just really trying to find who they are. You're most likely to hit puberty in this age group, and that affects physical being and your emotions. So you're also going to see a lot of outbursts with these guys. They have developed the capacity for abstract thinking and the ability to think critically. So it's really important that when we're planning activities and camps that we're kind of pushing them towards that and making sure that they're still developing that very intensely. You're again going to see that interest in the opposite sex, which is again important to have that clear boundary between, just like we talked about with the 11-year-olds. Their specific traits are that they are often egocentric. They can be pretty moody and are also moving towards being really self-reliant and independent. They begin to test values. They're very emotional, and they tend to be very concerned about friends and doing well in school. Failure isn't something that you're going to see any of these kids be okay with at this age group. They display mannerisms of giggling, squirming, and horseplay. So when you guys are trying to plan activities and have speakers come in or just watch a movie, you are really going to see a lot of that. Some good activities for these guys are going to be things that are up and about and getting them moving and being able to be loud and play with their friends and things like that. Again, you're going to see that pretty big peer loyalty type of situation. Those peer relationships are really important to this age group. They'll want to start to try new things, and they need to be part of something important. So giving them jobs that are quote unquote important, even if, say, maybe they're not as important as the rest of us would think, is going to mean a lot to them, and it's going to make them feel like they have a place. So that's important when we're talking about them. All right, so I'm going to explain our next little activity before we go into our breakout rooms. So what we're going to do is the ambassadors that are in your breakout room are going to assign or pick a drawer, and you guys are going to draw a picture similar to something like this with the input of your group in order to really dive into the age group that you've been assigned. So yeah, and if you have any questions, let your ambassadors know. They can get a hold of me, or I'm sure that they'll know the answer. So, Brett.
Hi, Bella.
Yeah. Hi.
All right, Brianna, I think we have everyone back.
Awesome. Well, I hope that you guys had a fun time discussing your age groups with everyone. It looks like Kim has got a really awesome board with their drawing on it, so that's cool. So what I'm gonna have everyone do is we're gonna go down the list. So 8 to 9-year-olds are gonna present first, then 10 to 11-year-olds, and then 12 to 14-year-olds. If anybody has anything to add to what their speaker says, definitely type it into the chat, or when they're done or during their presentation, raise your hand using the reactions button below, and we will make sure to let you know that you have the floor. All right, 8 to 9-year-olds.
And if you change your view to speaker view, then the speaker will be really big, so you'll be able to see their picture versus there you go. So up in the top right corner, there's a little button that says view. Change that to speaker, and then that'll make the drawing nice and big and not tiny on the screen.
All right. Okay. So if we had 8 to 9-year-olds, we said that there was a lot of variation in height. So we drew 3 different people. We said that they're smiley and happy, loud, playful. They don't like to sit, so we try to draw a chair. Let's see what else.
They need guidance.
Yes, they need guidance. They ask why a lot. Short attention span. Loud, and they need like prizes or like trophies or something to encourage them, like free time or a break or something. And then for our like how to activities and how to engage them, we said something to do with crafts, an icebreaker, or like some sort of dance class or something that involves movement. Yeah.
All right, good job, guys. Does anybody else in your guys' group have anything else to add to that? No? Awesome. What county are you guys from? I actually forgot to tell everyone to say their name and county.
Oh yeah, we're from Toole County.
Fun. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Good job, team. Next up is 10 to 11-year-olds. So you guys can go then.
We're Cascade County. We wrote interesting because they're interesting, I guess. Emotions. This age group deals with a lot of emotions, and they start caring about their appearance. So we drew a shirt and some pants, and then yeah.
Does anybody else from the 10 to 11-year-old group have anything to add? All right, good job, guys. That was awesome. Next up, my group, 12 to 14-year-olds. We didn't have a fancy whiteboard like you guys did, so bear with us.
So we did 12 to 14-year-olds. This is kind of the picture that we drew. So a lot of them care about their appearance, and a lot of them wear sweatshirts and shorts and just athletic apparel. So that's what we drew, and some hey dudes. A lot of them kind of are starting to experience like mood swings. So we have like a cloud and then like a meh face, and then we also have a like sun with a happy face, and then little thought bubbles that has like their thoughts of like one is more like sports and like go team orientated, and the other one's kind of like, oh, like I'm not doing good in school, and like the pressure of that and how they are feeling, you know. They also really like to challenge you in this age group and ask you questions and be like, why do I have to do that? Like, I'm older now, like I don't have to listen to you. And we also did sports too, because they're also very competitive and they like to win at everything, even if it isn't a game. They just want to be number one. So that's kind of what we came up with.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys. That was all awesome. So now I know that we're kind of early, but I'd like to ask you guys a few questions and you can all answer either in the chat or raise your hands and we'll call on you using, again, the reactions button on the toolbar below. Why is it important to know these things and these ages and stages in order to be effective leaders? Why is that important? Cascade County says so we know how they learn. Good job. To be able to help kids in the age groups, exactly, to be able to cater activities to their interests and the things that we can infer from these types of resources. So we know how to deal in certain situations. Good job, Tool County. That was a good answer. So you know how to deal with them. Yep. So we know how to keep them engaged. Yes, that is a very big portion of why we should know this. Lewis and Clark. So we are prepared and can deal with any issues that arise with various age groups. Also to know how we plan our activities. Exactly. Yep, that's a really good answer. In my group, we talked a lot about different camp activities or county activities that we could do in order to keep our age group really involved and to be able to cater towards their needs. Know what they're thinking about and why they're acting the way that they're acting. Yep, understanding is a big portion. Engaging is a pretty big thing that we're talking about right now. How to help them interact. It's important because if you plan something for your younger kid, but not for the older, they will not do it or will lose interest. Yeah, that's a really big one. So being able to cater activities to all age groups is a very important portion of being or of making sure that everyone is engaged and having a good time. Not everybody's going to like every activity that you plan or that you implement, but it's important to know that on the broad spectrum of things, you guys are really thinking critically and making sure that those activities are kind of pulling in to the interests of all age groups. So yeah,
Brianna, I have an idea.
I think that was some really good answers.
Brianna, I have an idea. Because everybody has such good answers, I'm going to put everybody back in those same breakout rooms. And each group, if each group could pick at least one thing that they drew on their picture, one trait or descriptor of their age group, and tell us how that would affect either what they plan for that age group, the activity. Pick one activity that you would do with that age group based on that trait. So an example might be like, I think it was the 8 to 9 year old said or the 10 to 11, there's a lot of like size differentiation. So you don't want to use size as, a descriptor in picking groups, let's say, because that would make them uncomfortable. So that would be an example. So I'm going to put everybody back in their breakout rooms and then come up with one thing that you would do with your age group based on that characteristic. Okay. There we go. Looks like everybody's coming back again. Good thing Tool County has that fancy whiteboard. Oh, look, Fergus County has one too. I think that's everybody.
All right, awesome. So we're gonna have each group present like we did last time. Please say your name and your county and what trait you guys picked to play on and what your idea for that activity was. Sound good? Thumbs up, everyone? Awesome. All right. So first group, 8 to 9-year-old.
Okay, Josh, introduce yourself.
Okay, I am Josh Kearns. I am from Toole County, and we focused on short attention span. So we had a lot of like games that we came up with. So you could do sharks and minnows, duck, duck, goose, captain's coming, which kind of like Simon says, or red light, green light. And we named it the station. If you combine them all together, you can do different like stations. So we named it the station, rotation, obstacle, coursation. So that's that.
That's a very creative name. I love it. All right, thank you guys. Toole County, you guys have done awesome today. All right, 10 to 11-year-olds.
Hi, my name is Logan George. I'm from Cascade County. We kept it simple and did group activities. Oh, so people don't feel left out.
Awesome. Thank you, Cascade County. That was really good. I think that in 10 to 11-year-olds, this is a really good trait to focus on. All right, 12 to 14-year-olds.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna first. Okay. So we said that they were really competitive. So the first idea that we came up with was Dragon Ball, which is kind
Hey,
of
Stella, you want to like talk a little bit louder or something?
Yes,
It's really hard to hear. Sorry.
So we said that they were really competitive, and we came up with the idea of doing Dragon Ball. And Dragon Ball is basically like a version of Capture the Flag, where we have a bunch of different like balls and a hoop, and then you just have kids like separated into two teams, and they run and they try and get them and stuff. And we said that that would be good because it is like athletic and it's really fun for kids, and then it's also like it can bring out the competitive side in them.
Yeah, and then we had actually like 4 ideas. So another one that we talked about before our group ended was Gaga Ball. So if you guys have ever done that, usually it's in like a fenced area and you have a ball and you try to hit people's legs. And if it touches their legs, then they're out. And if you catch the ball, then they're out. So it's again another competitive game that teaches not teamwork, just individuality. That's a good word.
A third game that we were thinking of playing is, it doesn't really have a name. We were just thinking of like calling it Scavenger Hunt or Coordinate Hunt, where we would hide different prizes in different coordinates and then create clues and puzzles to find those coordinates. Then we would split the kids into groups and have them race to find a different coordinate. So that would really help with their team building skills, their problem solving skills, and just give them that competitive edge to just win the race.
All right, awesome. So competition was what that group focused on, and we had an array of games that we came up with. Sometimes you're going to run into people who aren't very competitive in that age range, so it's important to have options for them. We all know that sometimes you can't always have options, especially in a camp setting, but being able to have that choice between competitive or say intellectual games is really important as well. Awesome. So that's all that I really had for you guys today. I want to thank you all for coming, especially on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm sure that you guys are all excited for the football game tonight, and I look forward to seeing you all next month, hopefully. So Brett, if you have anything to add.
Thanks, Brianna. Does anybody have any questions? Or I've sent out a couple of videos and there have been some social media stuff on Instagram. Just wondered if anybody had any questions about Rec Lab or state awards or Congress that we could answer for you while we were here, or just bringing your attention that those things are happening and the information is available and Rec Lab registration is open. And we hope to see everybody there. When is Rec Lab? Rec Lab is March 18th through the 20th in Hobson. And I can surely put the link in the chat box.
Can we give a short, can Fergus give a short promo for Rec
Please
Lab?
do. Go
Yes.
for it.
All right, so Fergus and Petroleum County are extremely excited to bring the entertainment for your 2022 4-H State Rec Lab. We're looking forward to seeing you all there, and there are sure to be many, many, many surprises, possibly explosions, but we haven't confirmed anything yet. Plus, we can't give away our secret identities or plans. But if you would please join us for Rec Lab, we're going to have some amazing workshops that are centered around our theme, have a few play on words. We have everything from dance workshops to leadership workshops to international exchange program workshops. The registration deadline is okay, so if you want the good deal, which means it's like half price, you have to sign up before March 1st. If you sign up after March 1st, then it's going to double in price and it's a lot more money. So you guys should definitely sign up before March 1st and get your spot in all of the awesome workshops we're going to have. We're going to have an amazing opening speaker. He's going to be awesome. So, yeah, we are definitely looking forward to seeing everyone in Hobson, March 18th through 20th. So mark your calendars and go sign up immediately after this ends.
Cassandra, can you explain what Rec Lab is? Besides being awesome, we know it's awesome, those of us that have been, but can you just describe what it is?
Okay, so Rec Lab is a state 4-H event kind of to connect youth across the state. We focus mainly on project areas and the different opportunities in 4-H across the state. There's a few national opportunities that we focus on, and a little bit of an international opportunity if you choose to go to that workshop. But mainly it's focusing on the projects and highlighting everything that 4-H has to offer.
There's 37 workshops.
And there are 37 different workshops that you can choose from to participate in on Saturday. You'll get to choose 5 of those workshops if you would like to, or you can choose 4 workshops and do a 2-hour one.
Kyle showed.
And then we also have a local singer, Kyle Show, coming to open as our opening speaker. And he is an amazing speaker. His songs are great, and we're looking forward to that.
So the thing that I love the most about Rec Lab, and I think is a pretty good descriptor, is that everybody comes together, you register, you're all in the same school, we stay in the school, we have dinner in the school, everybody's sort of there hanging out together. And then of course, Fergus Petroleum and County and all the other counties in District 3 have activities planned for you, and you just kind of go with the schedule and hang out, and that's what makes it so much fun. I think is everybody's sort of doing similar things and you're all there together, so you get to meet lots of people, and that's kind of what it looks like if you haven't been there before.
Yes. So yeah. I think that's mainly it. So it's mainly a leadership kind of thing, which is related leadership, and it's related to recreation kind of stuff. Then our closing speaker will be focusing on next, N-E-X-T, next, and setting goals, kind of to send us off into the world and get some big goals accomplished. Road to success. Oh yeah. All right. I think I've done enough speaking, so I hope you guys are motivated and looking forward to Rec Lab, and we hope to see you all there, because it would be great to get to know all of you and see you in person instead of just across the web.
Ask Brett if she'll share our screen for closing.
Can we, Miss Brett, could we have a special request to share our screen for our promo video?
Yeah, go ahead. You just were, and then it went away.
Okay.
So go for it.
All right. And that concludes my presentation on why you should come to Rec Lab.
Thank you, Cassandra. I am just adding question in here. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? We've been answering some questions in the chat, which is awesome. I put some links in there. If you want to copy those links down, I did put together, there's a YouTube link in the chat. That is a video that I did myself. That talks about Rec Lab Congress, the sort of program planning contest that we have going on for teen leaders to present at Congress, state awards, contests, lots of different things. So if you have questions or are looking for what's going on, click on that YouTube video. It's about 4 minutes and then you can watch everything. Anything else?
We can
Great.
just do a quick social media post for our Snapchat. Just if everybody wants to wave really fast, just give me a second to close this and enlarge my screen. All right. Everyone wave. Oh gosh. I suck at this. All right, thank you.
Bye, everybody. See you in March.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.